You may be watching this transmission. 'Tis I, Mike Martins. Welcome to another very special and very informative and very educational edition of Trends in the Housing Market. Okay, guys, we are approaching episode 220 something, and it's been going strong. And I just want to do a special thank you again to all the people that came to visit me this week, who have come out of their way to visit me. It's absolutely phenomenal in the last 2-3 days how many people have come up to see me and going out of their way. And it's just housing. And everybody is in some sort of a housing issue, whether they're defaulting on their rent, whether they're defaulting on their mortgage, whether they can't pay, they're 2 months behind. They're not only that, people bought at the top. People bought at the best time, so they're lucky. There's people that are all in these, but they bought at the best time at a good price, but now their renters or their investment property isn't paying back because their renters are defaulting on the rent. So, yeah. Anyways, there's lots going on in the housing market, and we've been covering it for so long now that it's almost like, how do I not be repetitive, right? So tonight we're gonna have today we're gonna be talking about defaults, mortgage defaults, loan defaults, auto defaults, student loan defaults, right? All kinds of defaults happening across the board. That's actually affecting the housing market. It's affecting how people eat. It's affecting how people go on a eat once a day diet, or it's going to affect what people do from day to day, right? So this is a huge movement that's happening, and defaults are coming in waves from what I've been hearing from the United States. I've been hearing all kinds of different other people that bought in people lower to medium income earners that bought $100,000-$200,000 home in rural parts of America. They're doing great. A lot of them I've spoken to, they're doing just absolutely right. They left LA or they left Seattle 2-3 years ago when the going got tough. They took their profits. In Canada, it's really hard in Canada. You don't have too many cities, so you sell, you got to reinvest back in the same market. Unless you take that money and you go to Costa Rica or you go to Brazil or something like that. But you reinvest in the same market, you really don't get too far ahead. All right. Okay, guys, we got people in the comments tonight. We got the Raven in the house. We got Liberty Returns. Jay Smith in the house. Jay Smith is saying, don't worry, the government will buy you a tent to live in. Woo. Woo! Yeah, okay, with the woos back, yeah. Thank you. The woos are back. Mike, your hair looks prime tonight. Thank you so much. Arthur says, Liberty strategy is to tax more the middle class and give the rest free money to the working class. Brent says deferring mortgages on principal residents makes sense, but it seems unfair to allow deferrals on speculative properties. That's a very good point. Brent, you calling to the show? Add me on Skype, guys. I want to have more callers calling into the show, more new, fresh voices. I want Aquarius to call in. She's always in the. We got so many people calling into the show and stuff. I want to get more people that are call into the show that are on the comments. Working on it. I just started my mortgage broker course. Okay, working on it. It's getting into mortgage brokering. Aquarius in the house. Woo! So it's good to see everyone coming in. Bird718. Whoa, it's already started. Oh yeah, it is. Trends in the housing market. Thank you so much, guys. And again, thank you to everyone that's been coming by the store to visit me. I didn't think I would have so many people coming down and took their time to come and see me. Thank you. All right, let's get into a quick channel plug before we get into some of the articles and phone calls here. Okay, let's get into a channel plug. Guys, don't forget, let's go to article scan. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We got, this is Trends in the Housing Market you're watching now. Don't forget to set your reminder here for Mike in the Night symbolism right here. Don't forget to set your reminder for this Mike in the Night this Saturday. Hopefully the Raven will have a very important message he needs to send to the masses. Also, guys, don't forget to shop Teespring if you guys want to pick up a Mike in the Night or Trends in the Housing Market mug or something that supports the transmission. Go ahead. And guys, go ahead and fan me on Facebook. They have me as a company. They won't allow me to be a public figure. even though I have 115,000 people that like me. But unfortunately, Facebook says that I am not considered like real to them. I'm not considered anyone of importance to them. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram if you guys get a minute. Go ahead and send me show tips on there. And I want to do a quick plug here for Randy Patrick, Housing Bubble 2.0. Randy Patrick out of the United States of America. He's got a really good channel here. And I was looking at his channel. Now, for me, to have someone on a housing show or even on, well, never mind Mike in the Night, but on a housing show, to talk about housing, to talk about defaults, I like to have people that have been at least making videos for more than a year before COVID. Because there's too many heroes coming on and creating channels just after COVID started in March of this year, February, whenever it started to get worse. And then went ahead and became these big heroes. And you go on their channels, they don't have a damn housing video for at least 6 months. You go on this gentleman's channel, he goes back over 2 years. Maybe because YouTube even doesn't really document this stuff correctly. This could be even 3 years older. Like some of these videos could be up to 3 years old. So guys, don't forget to check out the Randy Patrick channel. I'm going to try to get him on Trends in the Housing Market if he wants to come on. He's a way bigger channel, but hopefully maybe he might take the time to come on and be part of discussion and giving us a little bit of instruction here on this last video too. Housing Bubble 2.0, Subprime 2.0 is here. Boom or Bust, Subprime 2.0 is here. So I'd like to have him on the show. He's based out of Florida too. So that's really cool. So anyways, check him out if you guys can. And he's actually been around for a while discussing this. He's predicting, he's not post-dicting. And it's just like the McChronicle has been predicting, Formafist predicting, Martin North out of Australia predicting. People have been out there for years talking about this and connecting the dots and waking people up. And Randy Patrick's one of them too, right? Waking people up. All right. Woo! Oh yeah! Burn, baby, burn. There you go. Johnny Blazo saying, I've been watching Randy Patrick Housing Bubble 2.0 for years. Good. Thanks, Johnny. Randy Patrick's also a realtor. Good. So he's got the inside scoop on things. Okay. So let's get on to, that was the channel plug. Let's get into a bit of news before we get, that's the wrong one. Let's just get into some, all right. This just came in 1 hour and 10 minutes ago. Trump administration moves to halt evictions through end of the year. Okay, so Americans could breathe a sigh of relief if they're having a tough time making ends meet. The Trump administration on Tuesday evening put out directive to stop property owners from evicting some tenants amid the COVID. It'll take effect this Friday, and it runs through to the end of the year. So there it is right there. Can't pay because they lost their job or had an extraordinary medical expenses. The order is from the Centers for Disease Control Prevention. The CDC says if waves of people were evicted, they'd have to move in with other people or into shelter. If they move in with other people or move into shelter, the CDC says it could lead to overcrowding and possible outbreaks of COVID. Markets unprepared for wave of defaults in coming months, the S&P and Global. And here it is. There is a growing gap between the markets are expecting and a likely wave of defaults among struggling companies before the summer of 2021, according to an analysis by S&P and Global publishing Monday. These guys are not too bad. They're kind of, the baseline scenario, which would see 229 speculative grade companies default, involved the range of possible outcomes from as few as 74 defaults to as many as 284. So there's lots that are going to happen, and just kind of keep the ear to the ground and follow the why the coming foreclosure crisis will look nothing like the last one. And we said this before, that this up, and we've been saying this for like friggin' 8 years. This next crash is gonna make the 2008 one like a stroll in through Central Park. It's gonna make a walk in the park is gonna make it look like nothing. This is gonna make it look like that 2008 never existed. It'll be 2000 and what? I don't remember that. I remember 2020 or 2021 when they allow it to default. Okay, we got. Okay, wow, everybody. So we got we got Morgan Davies in the house, Axl Rose in the house. Distressed properties are overrated. Low Roller Scratcher says, you heard San Francisco rent dropping fast? Yes. San Francisco, like I heard through the grapevine from someone that lives there like 3 days ago, that on every street there's two or three people moving out of the state, literally moving out of the state, and U-Haul's having a tough time having to pay drivers to go pick up vehicles in California. Bringing vehicles to California so people can move out to other states. So, yeah. Flash Travel says, Mike and Randy Patrick discussing housing market together would be awesome. Primetime segment. And Low Roll Scratcher in the house. Paul is saying house prices have dropped in Queensland, Australia, about 20% just for starters. Yep. Housing price in Australia is long overdue. The Australian housing market, I know it sounds really weird, but it's been in a bull market since like 1975, 1978. It's gotten really no massive, huge movements. It's been a steady ATM machine for people. Like, if people bought in the early 90s at the right time in Australia and Sydney, especially Sydney, the downtown area, a couple of condos, a couple of homes in the early 90s, they'd be living on 10, 12 ATM machines up until December of 2019. They'd be sitting on a bunch of ATM machines. Okay. So we got Red Pill Millennial says, hey guys, when do you think the market will start crashing in Canada? The question is, when will they allow the market to crash? It should have crashed a long time ago with all the government the government first-time homebuyers, this, that, all this Mickey Mouse and lowering interest rates to a point where we're going to go negative now. So they keep this piece of crap going. I could see America crashing, resetting, and Canada still. And that's probably why they're closing the borders from America, because too many Canadians are moving down. And I told you guys this. Somebody actually challenged me on this and emailed me. And then they got back to me and apologized. There's over 31.4 to 35 million Canadians living in the United States since 1974. A lot of people don't know that. More people leave Canada. More Canadians leave Canada than are going into, or Canada has people coming in huge numbers, but that are not Canadian. But more people are leaving Canada to live in the United States, and a lot of retirees are moving to Mexico, Costa Rica, Brazil, Portugal. They're moving everywhere else. So that's what's happening there. Okay, why the coming foreclosure crisis will look nothing like the last one. So here it goes. Entering this recession, by contrast, credit standards remain tight, and the housing market was healthy. The COVID pandemic will lead to a rise in mortgage defaults and foreclosures, but as the housing market muscles through the economic downturn, it looks as if foreclosures will form a trickle rather than a flood, housing experts say. I see the trickle because I see a lot of, if you want to, states see the biggest spikes in foreclosures. Colorado, very expensive to be there right now. Massachusetts, try getting a one-bedroom in Boston. Michigan, a lot of people bought when they shouldn't. Minnesota, kind of surprised Minnesota's on there, and California. But there's a mass exodus in a lot of these states too. Not really Colorado, but people bought at the wrong time in Colorado because they left California, and then now they're going to leave it in the wind, stick it in the wind, so to say. The states that could see the smallest in foreclosures, obviously Florida is going to see small foreclosures. So is Oklahoma, New Mexico, and Maryland. And foreclosure trends. So here it is here. Homes with foreclosure filings. So money-wise, it's not big end homes. It's benchmark average price homes that are foreclosing on. And yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. Mortgage deals plummet as lenders play safe. Again, so this is from the UK. Mortgage deals are not going through right now because low deposit mortgage deals available to borrowers have plummeted in recent months. So low deposit mortgages means they're not putting a huge down payment down, and look what's happening. They want 30-40% down. Borrowers are able to offer 10% of the value of the home as a deposit could have chosen from 779 deals in start of March, data of MoneyFacts shows. So 6 months later, the choice is now down to around 60, the financial information company. So from 779 deals of 10% down, they've only chosen 6 to get approved because they know they're sure. They know they're the deals are underwritten properly by the underwriter, and all the requirements have been met to close that deal. So if they get audited by an auditor, everything will be kosher and it would be good. They won't get shut down, right? So we got Owen in the house. So I'm thinking there might be shutting down the American-Canadian border because if the American market crashes again, you could go down to Miami and pick up a condo for 30 grand, and that's going to be a huge issue because Canadians will just flee and do whatever they can. Perfect mortgage storm brewing. Experts warn surging demand for the home loans could spell the end of a historical low rates. We actually coined the phrase here on this channel. It's not like anyone really watches this channel, but to be frank with you, we coined the term the perfect storm. Perfect storm, the mortgage. How long ago? Let me see if I put in a title of a video. That's the question. Let's check it out. Perfect storm. Everyone else has been using it. I heard Gerald Salente use it a few times. I'm like, woo! Somebody's watching this channel. Somebody's watching this channel. Perfect storm. Let's see what comes up on my channel. Here we go. Trends in the housing market. Perfect storm a year ago. Australia's economic perfect storm disaster a year ago. When will it crash a year ago? Yeah, there's lots of them actually. Woo! Coining phrases that nobody watches. Mortgage rates remain cheap, but experts warn that this may be about to change. Again, this is in the United Kingdom. They need to raise interest rates. Let's call a spade here. They're either going to go negative to keep this going, or they're going to have to raise rates, and a good percentage of people will default. Now, I made a video today, a really important video, and I was asking, let's see if Better Dwelling got back to me. Sometimes they comment on my videos, right? Sometimes Better Dwelling comments on my videos, believe it or not. And I'm going to see here if they commented on my video today. I made a video today. This one here. Housing should crash 40%. A question for Better Dwelling. Now, my question was, let's see if they, because I know what their thing looks like. It's a Better Dwelling. Okay, they haven't commented on it. So, my question was, now this is an important question, and this question goes out to people living in Canada and Australia. Okay, so I asked Better Dwelling, have foreign investors and money laundering created a crater in the housing market that even if the local Canadian loses his job and defaults on his home, will it make an impact on housing prices, seeing how much has been sold out? We've sold out so much of our country. My question is there so much of it sold out that if the Canadian proper doesn't have a job, because housing is still going up and everyone's losing their jobs, everyone's foreclosing, but housing's still going up. So has the foreign investing taken so much out of Canada that the Canadian proper can't get in anymore? Or no, the Canadian proper can't get in, but the Canadian proper, isn't going to make much of a difference for the Canadian proper because there's already so much of it owned by foreign Chinese investors. Okay, I had someone email me to top the last record we had. We had a record on the channel of people who own property in Canada, Australia, okay, or in the UK, and not have visited those countries. So how many properties do you own in that country but never visited that country? So I found a guy today, and somebody emailed me and they told me there's a guy who lives just outside of Shanghai. He doesn't live like a millionaire, but he's a million, billion, whatever you want to call it, okay? He kind of lay lows. This guy lays low, and he told me that this guy owns over 1,000-ish properties in Australia, around Australia, and he owns over 2,000 properties in the province of British Columbia, and he's never been to both countries. I was floored because the email is very detailed. I'm not going to read that because it's got a lot of but he told me, yeah, this person owns this much. It's people buy these like stocks and bonds, and they hold them and they hope, but what they do is they buy out the locals. The locals can't buy. The locals have to move to other cities. And the more and more this happens, the more of a strain it puts on the locals, and the price of housing goes up. Banks get squeezed. They lower rates. Governments start bringing in these programs to further enslave you even further. So, okay, now hold on a sec. I want to throw something out there. For the first-time home buyer loans, the people that got the first-time home buyer loans, because first-time home buyers cannot get into the market. It's just too expensive. So they have to take another loan by the federal government to get them in to buy a home. Now, my question to you is, are you allowed to default on that if you default on your house? Because that's going to be some interesting times to come. If you can't default on your first-time home buyer loan from the government, that's a separate loan. So if you're living in America, guys living in the United States of America, you don't know how lucky you are. You guys are fighting on the streets over the weirdest crap. You have no idea how in Canada we're starving. You have no idea how we're starving up here. But it's gotten so bad in Canada that people born and raised in their own cities need to take a first-time home buyer's loan. Another loan from the government to help them put a down payment on a house. That's how it is in Canada. And in Australia, they basically have been doing a lot of 100% loan to value where they don't have to put a down payment. For a while, they did that like 3 years ago. And then interest-only mortgages in Australia. And England has done the same thing just to keep this crap going. Not kicking the can down the road. Kicking the can 3 blocks away. Yeah, Black Rhino saying housing has become a hedge. You got that, buddy. That's how launders. That's how he launders his fentanyl money. That's true. So we got Layla in the house. We got Gigi in the house. Who else we got? We got all kinds of people flowing into this housing show. Thanks, guys. So that's what happened. My question is, have the foreign investors taken enough of the pie to, if the Canadian proper defaults or the Canadian proper can't make his house payments, it doesn't really not going to affect the housing market because most of it is already foreign owned anyway, right? That's a good question to ask. I'm asking it, and I'm asking Better Dwelling here if they want to answer it for me. I sent it out, and it says here, a question for Better Dwelling. If they want to answer it, go ahead. All right, let's go back. Let's go back here. Oops, I had that thing closed. That's okay. No, nobody panic. Nobody panic here. Okay, let's go back to a few stories. We'll get our first caller in, whoever wants to call in. I like to have a one-time, first-time caller every time in the show. Perfect mortgage storm is brewing. Okay, brokers say a perfect storm of issues indicating mortgage rates are currently still in historical lows, may soon rise as COVID lockdown ravages many household finances. So there it is. That's happening in the UK right now, and this is what they're offering here on fixed mortgages in the UK. Oh, they're only doing it till 2022? That's a short rate. Yeah, because they want to get you more stuff. They want you to pay appraisal fees, that fee, this fee. Oh, man. $1 trillion in housing bonds, U.S. real estate crisis held back by Fed's mortgage purchases. There it is again. Remember what happened in 2008? U.S. housing market strained, rent slides 30%, foreign real estate investors left holding the bag. Ooh. The coming winter may be pretty tough for a great number of Americans, thanks to the government shutting down more than 60% of the nation's businesses and lockdown mandates. The government's move has strained the U.S. economy indefinitely. They keep blaming the government. It's like, if the government does something, he's wrong. If he does something on the other side, he's right. But no, he's wrong. So there's no this current administration, whatever they do is wrong. That's what the stupid media in Canada keeps doing. Whatever. If the current administration in the United States finds a cure for cancer, makes first contact with aliens on a good level, and creates universal peace, it's still wrong, or something went wrong. They always so there's no way. We know what's happening with this pandemic. We know what's happening here, but it's disgusting. Like, no matter what they do, whatever that administration does, it's always wrong. Small landlords dip into savings as their tenants struggle to pay rent. More renters are unable to make their monthly payments, and that is having an outsized impact on the nation's mom and pop landlords. No jobs, no rent. No job, no rent. More renters are unable to make their monthly payments, and that is having an outsized impact on the nation's mom and pop landlords. So, a technology marketing platform for small landlords that is just, sorry guys, yawn here. Just under 25% in July. Avail received responses from 2,225 landlords and almost 3,000 renters. The main reason for their inability to pay was loss of employment or reduced income. There it is right there, folks. And incomplete rent payments increased by 93% between March and May. And about 12% of landlords surveyed went into this mortgage forbearance program. They said not only were current missed payments pushed them into the bailouts, but concerns of future renters not being able to pay also had them asking for help protectively. Protectively, not productivity. No, protectively. Why? Because if the current tenant right now can't pay, what's going to say that the next one is going to be able to pay? That's a big, important question. So up in Canada, mortgage deferrals will soon end for many Canadians. Then what? So it's happening. It's happening this week, I think. 6-month mortgage deferrals for borrowers struggling with the financial impact of the Navi-COVID will be over for many in the fall. How many of those deferrals will turn into defaults is one of the questions hanging over the future of Canada's economic recovery. Around 2.6 million Canadians, or just 9% of credit consumers, have at least one active deferral, according to the recent survey by TransUnion of Canada. Of those deferrals, 28% are mortgages that report also shows. At the end of June, some 760,000 Canadians, or about 16%, of mortgage holders have taken advantage of the mortgage deferral options rolled out by the bank since the middle of March. So this is huge, man. So, but if the housing market rebounds, bodes well for Canada's chances of dodging a massive spike in defaults. Record high housing debt is a significant vulnerability. Remember, the average Canadian's about $400 away from being homeless. So you got to, guys, keep that in mind. And this was happening. I think the COVID was putting in to accelerate things for me. That's just me. Accelerate this stuff a little faster. Do real estate investors require disclosing their identities in the USA, Mike? Real estate investors. You know what? In the United States, they have to disclose their identity. I was reading an article about Seattle, where I think the federal or the state government was actually, because of Seattle or Washington State, housing went like this after Vancouver put in the foreign buyers tax, and everyone went to Seattle to buy housing, foreign investors. They were buying it on their corporate numbers. So when the government asked like some sort of freedom of information, or some sort of like, we want to know who's buying these homes, a lot of these luxury properties and mansions and expensive condos that were left empty because they're all owned by foreign investors, a big issue with that was a lot of them were corporate numbers. So even if you could find out who owns the property, it's going to be Washington State 11456 corporation number, and then that's it. So they've been very clever with that. They learned how to do a lot of this stuff and finding loopholes in the taxation systems and creating these identities and basically hosing the American proper, right? Okay, so mortgage delinquencies are rising in Vancouver residential market. This was from a few days ago. Mortgage delinquencies across Canada have been gradually falling, but in Vancouver and Toronto, they are rising from record lows in 2018. We covered this last week. Yeah, we covered this one last week. It's a 1 week old article. Sorry, guys. 1.5 million Australians in mortgage stress. Defaults expected amid recession. So here it is. This is what they're advertised here for new customers only. So here's your 3-year fixed lending discount, and they're trying to all kinds of different companies out there trying to give you the best mortgage rate humanly possible, and they want me to sign up for this. And there you go. 1.5 million Australians in mortgage stress. Defaults expected aimed recession. Student loan relief. A lot of student loans have been on frozen, and now they are months still count towards loan forgiveness and rehabilitation programs. Borrowers with ineligible federal student loans can still access emergency assistance. And there it is right there. I wanted to kind of throw that out there because there's a lot of people that, they have mortgage payments, they have rent payments, they have student loans, they have food. So, I don't know what that is. So here it is. This is coming out of New Zealand. This is a big one out of New Zealand. Thousands default on mortgage payments, other rush to get home finance. So they go home, not home. They go to get refinanced, basically is what it is, so because they can't afford. Reserve Bank data shows 10,905 homeowners are in arrears with their mortgages, and at the end of the first week of August. Wow. This in addition, more than 83,000 mortgages deferral requested lodged since the end of March 13. March 13% of all March 13% of all mortgages. Sorry, the way they have it worded. There it is right there. Man. New Zealand's going to get a good kick in the pants. Again, ANZ's mortgage-covered bonds, AAA stable. We'll see in the next quarter. Don't rely on home loan holidays to extend into the next year. So people are trying to work things out with the bank in Australia and New Zealand. Okay, I'm not going to... Okay. Australian property market can withstand a 40% crash. I don't know. Who's going to want to hold on to something that's going to be worth 40% less? Where is that music coming from? Goodbye. All right. Guys, I wanted to throw this out there. This is kind of important. Chinese cell phones were sold with money-stealing virus. Guys, this is not really happening in North America, but it's been happening across Africa, and it's been happening across African countries. I had a friend from Angola tell me that this is happening in Portuguese Africa, that they're actually they're burning their phones because there's something that's happening where whenever you put your credit card, they're taking slivers away of little bit of money, bits of money, and they're always attacking the poorest people you could ever take from. So a lot of them are trashing their phones and burning them in like dumpsters, like there's a whole bunch of people. So they're getting rid of their, like some of them were free phones too. So I'm just kind of throwing this out there because it's a very important message. What else? America's 1.3 trillion car loan market cannot avoid a pileup. So we will be seeing a pileup. So they want me to read this. So they will have a pileup, and credit card firms split on fate of consumers while U.S. cuts aid. This is from yesterday's date. Again, so much on the horizon right now. Okay, we got Blunt News in the house. Layla in the house. We got vegan tarts as Bitron is trading halt. Rumor they have a viable Rona vaccine. I know that the New Zealand Stock Exchange was getting attacked last week. Any power outages? No. And then you have Johnny Blazo saying you must make a great tinfoil hat. Oh, yeah. All right, who wants to talk about housing tonight? Who wants to come on the show and you know, work towards making a difference in your area, you know? Who wants to... Housing is just crazy. You know what? I want to get a perspective. I want to get Layla on. I know she's a Mike in the Night guest. I kind of want to get her on to kind of see the perspective from outside of Canada. And she once lived in Canada, and seeing Canada from outside and seeing what has transpired in the last year or 8 months since she left. So she could kind of see what's happening and how crazy this whole housing fiasco has become. So Morgan Davis is, the Chinese are trying to get as much cash as possible because the U.S. has been paying them useless cash for decades. Yeah, and that's what I've been saying, is that America's number one export is inflation. The number one thing America exports is inflation, their currency. Johnny Blazo says housing is nuts everywhere. It's nuts. It is. It's crazy. I couldn't fathom that it would get to this point. And it's still not correcting. Woo! Johnny Blazo says, to some degree, I think there will be a mass inflation in all assets and incomes. Oh, you know, working on it. Where's working on it? I saw her in the comments. She's getting her mortgage broker license. She told me in the comments that she's getting her mortgage broker license. You know what I'm saying? Who else do we got here? I'm just going through who we got here. I wonder if I gotta get Steve the plumber on right now. I'm gonna tell you why I gotta get. I'm gonna tell you why, because he called me the other day telling me he's got a major thing he needs to tell me. See if he turns on his Skype. Okay, Steve is not picking up, so if someone can get a hold of him, a lot of people have him on Skype. Working on it. Can I call you? I don't know. You see, I have like 55 Skype accounts from you because somebody was copying your Skype account and making fake ones. And unfortunately, that's really sad when you try to get a hold of somebody. I'm just trying to see who's on here, who's available. Oh, she's driving to the gym. Yeah. Yeah. She's driving to the gym, so she can't do it. Okay. Where is Ashima? I don't know. She hasn't been on in a while. I'm checking here on Skype. Ashima has not been on in a while. I hope she's okay. It's good to hear from her, too. Okay, looks like Layla has her Skype on. I just want to ask her what she thinks about what's going on, because this is a major deal. Like, this is a major make or break for Canada's future. Like, how are Canadians going to come out of this? Like, how are the Canadians going to, like, are there foreign investors hiding in the sidelines, waiting to jump in when things correct themselves in Canada and Australia to buy out the rest of what we have left? Red Pill Millennial has a good question. What will happen as the demographics get older? That's a good question. The Raven says he cannot talk housing. That's very sad that the Raven, can't talk about how, because there's so much happening that it's absolutely off the friggin' wall. Okay, credit card companies divided over issuing new cards. That's a major issue right now. And we got more bailout. Cash won't stop the wave of credit card defaults. So let's put a article scan here. There it is. More bailouts. More bailout cash won't stop the wave of credit card defaults. Guys, this is... I don't know how far they're going to take this. I don't know how far they're going to push the COVID. I don't know how far they're going to push all these agendas. I don't know. Yeah, Sean Lieberman. Sean is making actually a good point. More immigration. Yeah, definitely more immigration. There's definitely a way of fixing the problem. So we got Sons of Mishak saying, Johnny Blazo, damn, my finances aren't looking so good. Yeah, the Ravens sold his place. Man, this is COVID rescue. I can't believe they're still going on with this COVID thing. When are they going to let people live their lives? And especially what's happening in Victoria. Let's call Stephen Thomas out in Melbourne, Australia. Let's get Stephen Thomas on the show. He's an accountant / bookkeeper / financial consultant. Let's get him on the phone. Let's see if he picks up. I know it's lunchtime. I know it's like Thursday afternoon there in Australia. But I know he's in lockdown, so I don't think he's at work. So...
Hello.
Steven, I've been trying to reach you. You're a lot tougher to get than the president.
No worries.
Okay, boss, what's going down with your lockdown situation and what's going down with the housing situation there in Melbourne, Australia, especially with this lockdown?
With the lockdown, it has been extended by at minimum 2 weeks at the moment.
Okay.
With the housing in Melbourne, I can't speak for anywhere else, but I'll speak about Melbourne. There is something like an extra 140% vacancy rate in the space of this year.
140% vacancy rate?
Yes, correct. And that's with the property speaker's own figures.
Okay, can I ask, just throw something out there? Do you think they locked down the border or you can't get out of your state of Victoria because of the amount of people disappearing and fleeing the city?
Yes.
Wow. Because we all know that, four people died in Melbourne from this disease, or 10 people or something. So now they want to shut down. They've shut down. How long has the state of Victoria been in lockdown?
On and off since March of this year.
Okay. So do you think there's a link between the amount of vacancy and people leaving the state of Victoria and moving to other parts of the country or leaving the country? Yes,
I do. Simple reason, there's been an increase in vacancy rate by some abnormal amount, like 140%. It was announced this morning here.
That's
in
enormous.
Melbourne alone. Yes.
That's like 1 in 6. That's 1 in 6 dwellings.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a lot. Okay, so
yeah.
Melbourne is turning into an empty shell, just like Vancouver, just like Sydney,
yes.
just like Toronto, just like San Francisco, just like Los Angeles, just like every other New York. So where do you think these people are going? I mean, if you see if 1 in 6 dwellings are empty, there's got to be some sort of place they're going, or they're congregating, or where are they going?
There's a whole variety of places. Country Victoria, country Queensland, country New South Wales, South Australia, overseas, a lot of places. There's no one right answer to this.
Right. Do you see people fleeing to the United States? I see a lot of Australians now going to the United States from what I've been hearing.
Yes, some will go to the US and Canada. It won't be the major cities. It'll be in the countryside or just outside of the majors.
Okay. So, defaults. More defaults, or what's going on? People defaulting more, or people have to restructure their mortgages? What's happening to the interest-only mortgages? What's happening with that?
I'll talk about mortgage stress at the moment. Mortgage stress is still on the rise, especially in Melbourne. Just as a general rule of thumb, around about 60% of people in Melbourne are on welfare.
Whoa. 60%.
60.
In Melbourne are on welfare.
Correct.
What? Okay, continue.
So, in terms of defaults, there's going to be a decrease in welfare next month.
Okay.
So, it hasn't happened yet, but it will from next month. So, things like loan repayment holidays end next month.
Oh.
Things like JobKeeper come down next month. Things like JobSeeker also come down next month.
Okay, so this is the cliff we're talking about that Martin North was talking about that's headed in the end of September.
Absolutely. Yes, he's right.
This is a very interesting situation, and it's a very interesting time to be alive. So you are basically describing the city of Melbourne, Australia, as an open-air prison.
Yes, correct.
Holy crap. So are you getting by okay? Is everything okay with you?
Personally, I'm getting by okay because I'm in a job where, although I'm not deemed as essential, I can still get money enough to buy food and pay rent.
Wow. I'm speechless. So, okay, so they're extending this for another 2 weeks. Do you think they want to... I'm thinking here, I'm going to bet you, I bet 100 to 1 right now that they're going to extend this until the mortgage cliff ends, so there won't be a mass exodus out of Melbourne. So this way they can keep people in the city in a way?
It's probably too late for that because even if you extend it by up to 6 months, what is likely to happen as soon as the curfew comes off, that's it. People will walk away.
Van Tart is saying, I can't believe the figure of 60% on welfare. No. That's 60% of people on relief, guys. That's not, he doesn't mean like welfare. Like what he's trying to say is that people are on relief funds and support funds from the government until this thing blows over, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, that's what you mean. That's what he means. Welfare rate, and maybe in the state of Victoria, is probably like 3%, like the actual welfare where they don't work at all type of thing, right? Is around about 3%, 2-3% of the, yeah. But okay, so have you? I guess you're not making any vacation plans because you can't leave.
I can't go more than 5 kilometers down the road.
Are there still helicopters and drones flying around watching you guys?
Yes, around about midnight, between 8:30 to 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning.
Wow, they're making it sound like it's Compton or South Central Los Angeles or downtown Detroit or something.
Yes, but it's not very quiet.
Wow. This is just unbelievable. And now the record, the deaths and they're kind of trying to start to massage the numbers a little bit, saying that a lot of the people, I heard that, or read an article this morning that in Australia, the 500 or something people that died, some of them were misconstrued. It's actually a lot less than 500 deaths from COVID. They're saying that they overstated the numbers by deaths by maybe half of the percentage. So maybe 250 people died of it. Now they're kind of looking at it and saying they made a mistake.
Yes, well, the government officials here in Melbourne are saying that their numbers hadn't reconciled for most of this year with the federal government guidelines.
So let's shut down the whole country.
Yep.
Shut down the whole country. I think more people died falling down the stairs than COVID in Australia.
Yes, that's right.
No, I'm not kidding. I'm not joking. I think more people died falling down the stairs. Man, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. All right, Stephen Thomas, have your phone on Sunday afternoon for Mike in the Night. Maybe we'll have you back on if things start to change quick in Australia, and then you could give us an update on what's happening, okay?
All right, no worries.
God bless you, Stephen. Stay strong.
Thank you. I will. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, that is Stephen Thomas out of Melbourne, Australia, in lockdown. He is an accountant slash a financial advisor, works from home, pays, could get by doing his thing for now so he could buy food and pay rent. Man, that's gotta hurt. You can't be 5 kilometers out of your house. They're extending it for 2 more weeks. There's a mass mortgage cliff defaults, a magic mortgage cliff default happening in the next couple of weeks in Australia. Martin North there from Digital Analytics, I think it's called, has been talking about this for a good while now. And I like to get him on the show sometime whenever he can. I know he's like, these YouTubers are bigger, like they're big, like bigger like presence. You know what I'm saying? And then I don't know if they want to come on a small channel like this, but we do have our devoted viewers that do deserve to receive some of this information too. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're more of a discussion channel. I'm reading comments here. We're talking to each other. I'm trying to get people to call in to be part of it. You know what I'm saying? So Harry Tuttle is saying, doesn't look like free money for niche groups of people is stopping anytime soon. Harry, can you explain to us what you mean? Oh, we got Kevin in the house. What's up, Kevin? Yeah, I could call the Raven, but I could call the Raven and see what he's up to and asking, because I know he did sell his house and he does not want to. He doesn't want to discuss his personal tax information on the channel. We don't want him to, but I don't know. He put that in the comments. Okay, we got Stephen FM in the house. Okay, everyone's talking about Tig Nim is saying my finger is broken so I can't call in. Okay, we got Ben Fraser, put it up in the comments right there. It's Covey 1984. And if anyone remembers George Orwell's book that was written in 1948, he just switched the 2 numbers of the year he was in and called it 1984. Oh yeah. And that is for Mike in the Night. Don't forget to set your reminders for a Mike in the Night. Wow, I've been talking for a whole friggin' hour here. CGA saying, I'm in the financial industry and I heard some crazy crap they are drumming up. Yo, man, nothing's crazier than first-time home buyer loans. Hey, how's about taking a loan because you can't afford the other loan, but we're going to give you another loan so you can buy this place, and then the way you have 2 mortgages to pay for 1 house because you are bought out of your market. Woo! Oh, yeah. Okay, Harry Tuttle saying free money going out to small business owners. Just announced $500 to owners of specific background. Small business owners are already eligible for 40 grand loan, 10K grand, 10 grand free. Yes, in Canada they had that. I had an opportunity to sign up for that when my store was closed for 10 or 12 weeks. My shop was closed, and I had the opportunity to sign up for that and then basically get 10 grand for free. And it's a $40,000 loan and you only have to pay $30,000 of it back to the federal government. And they don't start charging you interest on it for a certain amount of time. And I called my accountant back and I said, I don't want to do this. It's okay. Because if something goes wrong and they're like, I don't like Mike Martins, I want him to pay back the full amount. It's like, I don't want to get into that, and that's it. That's it. I don't want to get into it. So I got no money out of this. So I've been kind of hinging along on the sides here. Peter Cotton is saying, hey, Mike, have you heard of a YouTuber called Property Club? He is from Australia, but currently resides in Philippines. You should do a collab. Message him for me, Peter. Just say, hey, man, I was talking to Mike Martins. And he asked me if you guys maybe want to, meet up and talk online about something here, or housing or places to move. Trends in the housing market after this housing thing starts to fizzle, or we figure out what's going on here. I really want to do those trends in the housing market we used to do. Where do you run to? Like, we're going to look at properties in the Philippines and what they need, people need to, or properties in Costa Rica, Mexico, how to lease a land for 99 years in Mexico and not really worry too much. I wouldn't mind leasing a land in Mexico for 99 years for like $50 US a month. If I could park my RV on, or if I have an RV to park on there, that'd be great. Like something like that, right? Kind of looking out the options, right? Peter Cotton says, okay, will do. Thank you, Peter. Let me know. Just get me to add me on Skype, Mike Martins 1980. Send him a link to my channel and say, hey, this guy's pretty okay. He's kind of grounded, and do a collab with him. Yeah, Lord Humongous got me, we got, what's his face there? Lord Humongous to do a collab with Mario Maneko 64. Then we got all kinds of collaborations we had from other channels, and people like you basically kind of asking other channels if they want to collab. And a lot of these channels, they never heard of me before, right? So some of them do. I'm not going to say that not, We got AV1611 in the house. Okay, so let's get back to, let's do a quick channel plug. We are 1 hour in. We're going to try and get Steve the Plumber on the show. I really want to get Steve in. He's been hounding me for 2 days, and we've been playing a lot of phone tag. I'll be really honest with you. We've been playing a lot of phone tag. So guys, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I have a video out here, a question for Better Dwelling. My question is a very important question about the housing market is, have foreign investors invested enough into Canada and Australia and New Zealand? Well, they don't have to answer the other countries, but in Canada, because when you have $200 billion laundered in a span of 4 little years in housing, basically shadow flipping, is enough of Canadian housing bought out to a point where if the locals lose their jobs or can't make the payments, it won't affect the housing market that much because the locals are out of the game? Where the locals have no play in the game because very little to no people own their homes free and clear anymore, and Canadians, I'm saying. So that's a very important question. Did they make enough of a crater in the housing market? So that's what I'm asking here, a question for Better Dwelling. Guys, don't forget to set your reminders for Mike in the Night. I'll give you a link. Set your reminder for this Saturday for Mike in the Night. Symbiosis Intelligence. Very important, very, very important episode here. If you guys want to set your reminders for Mike in the Night this Saturday. Oh man, things are getting hectic out there. We're getting callers in. We're getting a whole pile of new callers in. And it's going to get to a point where we're going to have to limit, callers to 10, 15 minutes. That's a long time to get your point across, You call into big shows. You're lucky if you're on there for 30 seconds. You know what I'm saying? So a good 10, 15 minutes, nice 20 minutes on, sometimes if someone has something very important they need to address. Don't forget to shop Mike Martin's Teespring. And someone wants to chat with me. Hi, Mike. I can't chat in your YouTube live stream. Did I get blocked by moderators? Diana? Nope. Nobody's being blocked there, Diana. She's messaging me right now on Facebook. No one's blocked you. There's no Diana that's blocked. There's no Diana that's blocked. Nobody's been blocked. So that's not looking good because I go on other channels and I'm on the live stream talking, and then I see, let's say, Lord Humongous on there, and I typed, hey, Lord, how you doing? No reply. Hey, person on the thing, how you doing? No reply. I go next week. Hey, how you doing, Lord? Hey. I'm like, why are these people all avoiding me? And they can't see my comments. I don't exist on there. I log into my video game channel that I do video game reviews, go back and see the chat. I'm not in there, and I'm not blocked. So something is really weird going. So there's my Facebook, guys. Don't forget to join my Facebook page. I almost have 120,000 people that like it. And what's funny about it is they won't make me a public figure on Facebook. And don't forget to send me show tips on Mike Martin's official here. There it is. If you want to send me something on Instagram. And don't forget to check out the Randy Patrick channel. Housing Crisis Bubble 2.0. He's out of the United States. He's been doing housing videos for 2+ years. Looks like 3 years he's been doing housing videos. So this guy is good. He's not a post-dictor. He's actually a predictor. And he's out there, and he's been doing this for a while, right? There's a lot of people here. I'm going to give you a link to his videos here. And he seems like a really cool guy. I really hope we could do a collaboration. And the reason why is because there's someone that wanted to do a collab with me like last week. And they're like, wait a minute, you had a YouTube channel for 4 months. You have 500,000 of subscribers. And like, what? It's like, whoa. And no. I tried to do a collaboration with someone that's been talking about housing. And then I noticed they have only been talking about housing for the last 4 or 5 months. But they've had a YouTube channel for almost 10 years. And they have 500,000 subscribers. But now they're talking about housing. It's like, stop jumping on the bandwagon. Stick to what you know how to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm listening to some of the guys housing, not Randy Patrick. I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about, the guy has 500,000, and he doesn't even know how to discuss interest rates or interest percentage changes or understanding how the total debt service ratio works. But because he has a lot of subscribers, he could sway the minds of a lot of people, and you got to be careful. So guys like Randy Patrick are strong. They predict. They actually know what's happening in the markets because they've been doing it, look, for years. Years. Anyways. Like, shout out to the McChronicle. Again, a predictor. Just like Randy Patrick. Just like Formafist. Just like Martin North. All these people have been doing this for years. Discussing and not trying to create the whole gloom and doom scenario, make everyone freak out, but making people aware of the potential financial mistake they could make in the future that would basically destroy the rest of their lives. Okay, we got Linny Poo in the house. We got Lord Humongous. As the housing market burns. Yeah, Lord, I brought you up earlier in the show. So, okay, we got to get Layla. I got to see if Layla's. I got to get her on. I'm going to try Steve one more time. Because apparently he has some breaking bombshell news that he wants to share with us. And it'd be nice to see what he has to say, you know, just to... Pick up, Steve. Come on, Steve, pick up. He's not picking up. Damn it. I wanted to have him on the second hour, but he ain't picking up. Damn. He's been hounding me for days, and then I try to get him on the show. He can't come on the show. Yeah. Sean Lieberman saying his puppet wood is actually cheaper if you buy it from the States instead of where it's chopped in Canada and have it sent back. Yeah, it's actually a lot of people lately have been jumping on the bandwagon and buying wood out of the United States, Canadian wood out of the United States because it's cheaper than buying it from Canada. And that's nice. You know, it just goes to show how things are really organized here in Canada and how our politicians are looking out for the masses. Okay, so let's get Manitoba retail shortages. Okay, we got this from Layla the other day. Hold on, let's put this up. Manitoba retail shortages continue as COVID pandemic rages on. As Manitoba starts to settle, let's go to article scan, please. As Manitoba starts to settle in for a fall season where COVID pandemic is still in full swing, they might still have some difficulty getting some supplies from local retailers. Okay, what are they having difficulties for? Uh, okay, wipes. Okay, yeah, we know that. Be asking for selling masks and face shields at his grocery store, but they continue to fly off the shelves. Wow. So the only person that should be able to shed some light on this or debunk this would be someone living in Manitoba, and his name is the Raven. Let's see if he picks up.
Hello.
Hi, Raven.
Hey.
How you doing?
Good.
It's so good to hear from you.
You want to talk about houses?
No, I want to talk about this Manitoba retail shortages continue as COVID pandemic rages on. What the heck are they talking about?
I heard nothing about it. I heard about it in the room.
Well, Layla sent me this from Syria, so somebody knows about it.
I know about it in Syria. I don't know about it here.
No.
Did Linny Poo know about this? Because she never said nothing to me about it.
Well, this is from September 1st. Manitoba retail shortages continue as COVID pandemic rages on. And they're saying they can't buy patio furniture, they can't buy above ground swimming pools, and this is coming from another business too. So multiple businesses are having. Could it be the I think it's the trade wars with China and the US that's causing a majority of this problem.
I think it's probably just COVID. Everybody's stuck at home. Like the lumber shortage. But the thing is that these people that bought my place took a short possession. They want it in September 15th. I'm renovating my other place, trying to get it ready. I have no time to even go to the store. I'm going from here to my other place back and forth, just renovating and getting ready and trying to get this place moved. And I got no time to go to the store. I wouldn't even, I never even looked at the local. Yeah. I don't really look at local news.
No one reads the news, really. I mean, no one watches. Like the other day, my mom, I was like overhearing. I was in the kitchen and I heard my mom listening to the mainstream media, and it's talking about like this and all this and that. And then I don't even want to repeat what they said because I just don't even want to repeat what they were talking about because it's such a bowl of whole crap that, fresh manure that it's not even worth talking about. But yeah, I don't blame you for not watching the news. But Raven, are you still there? Oh, we lost the Raven. I hope he's okay. Raven, are you still there? Raven? Raven, are you there? Looks like we lost him. Oh, he sent me this. Let's see what this is. Oh, this is a Mike in the Night thing. Ice sheet melting in a perfect line with our worst case scenario, scientists warn. Oh, they've been talking about this since the year 1952. All right. Okay. Scott's asking a really good question here. He's asking, how do prices compare between established homes compared to building across our glorious Commonwealth? What changes with respect? Don't build. It's too expensive. Lumber's too high. Yo, I've been trying to reach you. You're a lot tougher to get than the president.
Sorry about that. Yeah, that was my Wi-Fi.
Oh.
It was not.
Okay, no big deal. So, I don't blame you for not watching the news.
Well, I do, but I watch specific things. I don't got time to get wrapped up in some stuff. Like, I have a discussion with this certain person that I know that's up on current events, and she tries to explain things to me. And you know what? I already know that, and it's not going to change. So I have to work on other things. I look at other things. There's a million pieces to this puzzle. You want to spend 7, 8, 9, 10 hours a day researching 7 days a week. You can't be focused on one thing. You got to go through all the pieces of the puzzle. Ask Lord Humongous. That guy's consuming probably at least 12 hours a day of research, 7 days a week.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I know he is.
Well, that's why we have him on the show almost every week.
Well, you got to. You have to. If you want to put the pieces of the puzzle together, and then there's a lot of pieces. And you know what? Every several thousand hours, it starts to make more sense, and then it makes more sense. And the more sense it makes to you, the less sense you make to other people, though. because they'll never catch up on that, you know.
All right, putting a puzzle together is a good one. Let me ask you this question. Building a house right now. Somebody asked in the comments about building a house. Dude, I got a friend that he's now quoted $22,000 more, from $19,000 more to $22,000 more to build his cottage.
Well, you know what? I'm not going to say any names, but Linny Poo was telling me about a property that was sold, and it was going to be to a developer, and then but before the developer took possession of the property, he went to go and get the lumber and that, and they told him, we can't even supply you the lumber. We can't even give you the lumber to build. So he didn't do the deal. The deal fell through because he couldn't even acquire the lumber to build the house. You know, there's a shortage. So
a lot of people have been buying from Canadian lumber from America.
Yeah, I went to Home Depot last night and bought some plywood. It's expensive as hell, you know.
Wow.
It was almost $40 for a sheet of it was 1/2 inch I bought.
Wow, for plywood.
It was expensive. Yeah, it was expensive.
Wow.
You know, it's doubled in the last 4 or 5 months. I think it's almost doubled in value. A lot of it has.
Do you think this is a manufactured shortage?
I built 3 staircases with decks, like a fair-sized deck with a staircase. Not a huge deck, but out of a house. I built 3 of those in the last 2 months. I don't build those. Like, that's because we can't go nowhere. Everybody's doing that. Everybody's upgrading their homes. Everybody's staying close to home. Nobody wants to travel. We can't go to, we weren't going to restaurants. We're not going to movie theaters. We're not going to the bar. We're not doing what we used to do. We're staying around the house. And we're looking around going, oh, I could build a deck there, or I could build a shed or a garage, or everybody's consuming the lumber. We're bringing in lumber from out west. I don't know how fast they're growing their forests out there, but we're bringing in tons and tons of lumber on the trains. I see it.
So
lots of lumber coming in.
So this could be manufactured.
This is a COVID thing. It's because of COVID. That's a definite COVID.
Is it a COVID thing where if you touch the wood you get sick, or the workers don't want to go to work? The lumber mills are backed up. Like, what's?
Everybody's stuck at home. They're working on their houses. They need to buy lumber. They want to buy lumber. I did it. I bought tons of lumber this year. I went and filled my truck several times with lumber. I bought more lumber this year just doing recreational projects than any other year. Yeah. And I'm still buying lumber because now I'm renovating another basement suite. So I got to buy more lumber. But I'm only buying small quantities. If I was trying to buy a house or build a house, then man, I don't know what those guys are going to do. They're going to run into problems. Like and is it going to be profitable to build those infill lots now?
Yeah,
Who knows?
I
think
unless they have the permission to go with a lumber wood structure like 25 stories.
Well, I think that it's going to be chewing into their profits pretty good. I seem to think they make about $100,000 for each, a house with a secondary unit in the basement. I think they make about $100,000 if they get their property. Like around 125 for the lot, $250 to build. So you're in 375. Maybe you sell it for 475, 500, right? So you make about around $100,000. But I think that this lumber, I don't know what the full price of lumber for a whole house is, but it's got to be in the tens of thousands. And if it's doubled, or if it's getting close, it's chewing into their bottom line. That's for sure.
That's 100. Like, I could see that 100% happening.
So you can expect probably a decrease in that, And then I think with immigration stopping, you're going to probably see a decrease with that too for home buying. I don't know. There could be. I read an article. They said there could be a dip coming. I think it's more than a dip.
Well, they're saying that a 40% correction would put things back in order, but I'm looking at some cities like Toronto, and Toronto needs like a 70% correction in prices for the average wage. I'm not talking about minimum low wage earners. I'm talking about average wage. I'm talking about $55,000 to $75,000 a year to get into the housing market because they can't get in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm talking about a 1-bedroom, like just to get into something basic.
Well, the market here is crazy. You know what? Me and my brother sold our house on the exact same day, and he's having trouble. Like they're looking, but it's hard. And I know other people that are looking and they're having difficulty finding that house, just with multiple offers. And there's just not a lot of inventory out there for them, but it's a hard thing.
Okay, we got a question here. eBankU says it costs him just under $4 for a 2x4 in Japan. How about Canada? How much is a 2x4 right now in Canada?
I wasn't buying just plain. I was buying pressure treated. Tell you the truth, I can't remember what what was
it's probably cheaper to buy the wood in Japan and ship it to Canada.
You know what? I'll tell you something. I get wood from Japan. If you can believe that, I get wood from my brother works in the rail yard where they weld the tracks together, 39-foot pieces of rail. He's the welder. They weld them together until they got a quarter-mile piece of rail. Then they load it onto a train. It's called a rail train. Mm-hmm. It's a quarter-mile long train. But all those 39-foot pieces of rail come to Canada from Japan. That's Japanese steel, and they come on hardwood. It's a fir, and it's the strongest wood. We use it for fence posts and that. We can get 7 or 8 foot 4x4 posts. They lay the rail across these posts. We can get unlimited supply of that wood. Wow. So I do good. It's awesome. It's awesome. We can get as much as we want, but where do you store it? So
that stuff's worth a small fortune, dude. If you think
it is. It actually is. You know, it'd probably be about $25-$30 a post for that stuff. And it's super heavy. It'll be here for 100 years, you know. Amazing wood from Japan. It's a hardwood.
So we got Papa Piss saying in Rona right now, they looked it up. 2x4x8 is $5.69 Canadian, where in Japan, a Canadian 2x4 is just under $4, Canadian lumber.
That's not bad.
So it's cheaper in Japan.
Yeah.
That's so weird. It's like our gasoline prices. It's like so many things. It's like I was talking about. I want to get my Corvette painted. I went to 2 shops. One shop quoted me $13,000, and the other shop quoted me $15,000. I sent a video of my car in and out, a 12-minute video, a detailed video, to 3 shops in the States, and all of them quoted me from $1,800 to $2,300. So.
Yeah.
I'm not understanding why everything. I have a couple of buddies that want to build properties here. Everything they're getting quoted is $700 large to build.
You know what, Mike? Don't paint the car.
Oh, no. When I'm done the mechanical, I'm going to put 4 new shocks next spring. I'm going to put 4 new shocks, 4 new beautiful Goodyear, those top-of-the-line tires. I want to put a new battery. I want to do stuff to it every year. And the last thing I want to do, last on the last year, I'm going to paint it the same color. I'm going to paint it the exact same matching paint from GM and just touch it up and get the scratches and everything, like make it nice and clean.
Yeah, Yeah. I wouldn't, I think there's better things to put your money in right now.
Well, no. If I could get it painted for $2,000 as opposed to painting it for
if you can, but what kind of paint job are you going to get for $2,000?
Oh no, there's some pretty good companies out there. I've been looking at quite a few, and they don't rip you off. Basically, here in Canada they rip you off. Everyone's scared to go to a mechanic here in Canada because you end up going in there for $46 for a part, and then you end up leaving with $2,000 in parts and like $3,000 in labor, and it's like, oh my god, what did I just do?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So we got Lord Humongous in the house. We got Layla in the house. eBankU from Japan in the house. And
Linny Poo's in the house.
I know Linny Poo's here tonight. And friends in the housing market. Yeah,
you should have seen her handle that real estate. See, I sold for, I don't know if I should say the price. Is it okay, Linny Poo, to say the price?
It doesn't matter, Raven. Honestly, it doesn't matter.
Well, the thing is that the appraisal came back $25,000 less than the sale price, and then the other agent called Linny Poo and said the appraisal's $25,000 less, and she said, "Get another appraiser." Yeah, so she just told the guy the way it was. They were trying to grind us down. They wanted us to sell it $25,000 less.
No.
So,
dude, you know how much acreage you could buy in Alabama with $25,000?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, but anyways, she didn't take their She told him the way it was, and got the appraisal in 25,000 more. She got it done.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
Ravenola. Raven, I'm going to let you go, buddy.
Yeah.
I just want to kind of get a
You know,
synopsis.
the housing thing is okay, and I know people are interested in housing, but look what's going on, man.
Well, you got to remember, housing is going to make or break our countries, because without a middle class that's in and out of housing, and without a middle class that's buying into housing, we have no economy. The economy doesn't exist without, and this is going 10 years back, Raven. This is not now because of COVID and stuff. I'm going 10 years back. We've been bought out of our own markets, and it's getting worse now.
Yeah, there's how many different reasons with the money laundering, and
it goes on forever though, and there's just so much.
Yeah, and I used the first-time home buyer's loan when I bought my first house. Mm-hmm. I did that. I did that back in '94. I think I borrowed 20,000 from my RSPs, and you have 15 years to pay it back. So your first year, your payment is 15 years divided by 20,000.
You didn't buy a detached 1910 bungalow for $1.6 million with that loan.
I bought a bungalow for $79,000.
Thank you very much. People are doing the same thing, buying $1.7 million teardowns, okay?
Yeah. I bought, let's say, 80 grand. We'll call it 80 to make
80
it
large.
even.
Okay, 80 large.
I owned it for 18 years. I sold it for $240,000. That's 80, and 80. 3 times 80. I sold it 18 years. When I bought it in '94, I think a pack of smokes was about, what is it, $5? Okay. When I sold that house 18 years later, a pack of smokes was $15. $5.
Well, don't get too excited, because a pack of smokes in Australia is like $50.
Yeah, well, I don't smoke anywhere, but I'm just saying, like, I made no money on the sale of that property. Mm-hmm. I made no money on it. Everything was 3 times more expensive.
Well, you got to live, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, and I lived for, well, I don't know if I lived for free, but it looks like you made money, but it's a smoke and mirrors game.
It is. Unless
you're really like they say, gold doesn't pay a dividend, But if you buy, let's say you go into a store and buy gold, and then all of a sudden a war breaks out a week later, gold goes up $1,000 an ounce. You sell it, you make 900. Well, you made money on gold, You made money, but usually it doesn't go up that quick. Mm-hmm. So,
well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Are you buying any gold?
Me?
Yeah,
I've stacked gold a long time ago, buddy. I've already been in the gold stacking and silver stacking for years, Raven.
No. Equities. Are you got any miners?
Well, I just sold I shorted Eldorado yesterday.
Yep.
And Eldorado's been going down, and I've been shorting it.
What are they, around $15?
14 something now. It went down quite a bit today. And and I shorted, and I bought I'm holding on new golds to go down a bit more, and I'm going to buy it back again when it's at 1.
You know what? You know what, Mike? Forget new gold.
But I thought we were friends.
Forget new gold. I got a better one.
What is it?
It's in Newfoundland.
What's it called?
Newfound Gold. I bought Newfound Gold on Thursday at $1.69, 21,400 shares. Mm-hmm. It's at 207 today.
Come on, don't bullshit me.
No, that was a good 3 days.
Let me check here. Newfound Gold.
Yeah. I think it's at 207. Just pop up the chart, though, the 5-day chart on that stock, or the 1 month chart.
All right, here
those guys are those guys. What's it? Kirkland? Was it Kirkland Gold? The big one, $70 stock. Mm-hmm. They're finding core samples in this gold mine, and they're matching them core sample beside core sample of Kirkland, mm-hmm. and they're identical. Identical core samples. Kirkland's a $70 stock. This is still
it's up 5. It's up 5 cents right now. It closed up 5 cents. It closed 5. Sorry, it's not open right now. The markets aren't open right now, and it is taking There it is on the 6-month trajectory right there. 6-month trajectory looks good. And there's your year-to-date. So it's a newer company. Yeah. Let's see. Newfound Gold Corporation, a mineral exploration company, engages in identification, acquisition, and exploration of mineral properties, provinces of Newfoundland, Labrador, and Ontario, Canada.
I think it's the Queen's Belt gold patch that they got. But on the 27th of August, they came out and said, we found another rich, fertile gold deposit 45 kilometers away. And then it jumped again. There's a whole bunch of gold out there, and they're finding it, and it seems to be exactly like I think it's what's that other gold mine? Kirkland,
yeah.
That's $70 stock. I went and looked at it, and they matched their core samples. They put them beside each other. They're identical. So if they're going to pull that quality of gold out of the ground, that little $2 stock's going to do some pretty good stuff. And you know what? I noticed, like yesterday, when gold stocks are dropping, that stock's still going up. So what happens when every stock goes up, all the gold stocks, what's that one going to do? It's going to have huge jumps. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of quick room for this stock to move in the near future.
Okay. Remember, guys, we're not financial advisors. We cannot read. Do not listen to us. Do your own research.
We cannot, yeah.
We can't read. Yeah. So do not take our advice.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And so, yeah.
Anyway.
Well, thanks for the tip, the stock tip. I think Lord Humongous is going to be doing some investigative research on NFG.V their office is based out of Vancouver, British Columbia.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay.
That's a good one. I like it. It's been really good to me in the last 3 days. So.
Okay. And, I appreciate the tip. I'm going to put that in my watch list today. And, come on, Mike in the Night. Come on, Mike in the Night, if you can, this Saturday. It's going to be really good, man.
I might be working.
Oh, dude, put a hidden microphone on you while you're working.
I can't drive and be on Mike in the Night.
Okay, I understand. I'm just breaking you. You. If you're working, you're working. If you're not, let me know, okay?
One other stock for you, gold stock, is GOLD. That's the one Doug Casey and those guys are in. GOLD. They got 25 million ounces in the ground. No, it's GOLD is the ticker.
Well, it's Barrick Gold Corporation.
Is it GOLD?
That's what I got.
What's it at? What's the price?
I'll tell you right now. GOLD is at $29.57.
No, this one is it's on the TSX.
Okay, so GOLD.TO. Yeah, Gold Mining Inc. Equity Toronto. Here it is. It's at $3.75. It's down 4 cents today.
Yeah, that stock has 25 million ounces in the ground. 25 million ounces in the ground. When gold goes up to 3-4 grand an ounce, that stock's going up, way up. That one has excellent management team, like a really good top of the line.
We should go there one time and just check it out and walk around, kick some tires.
You know what? Me and Lenny Poo were thinking about going to Red Lake Road, Ontario, to check out some gold mines because she has family out there.
Nice. Make some videos, do some reporting for the Mike Martin's channel.
Okay. All right.
I appreciate that if you did.
I will. I got to do something. I did one for you. I got to do another one.
Do another one. Go out there with the secret camera and go on private property like you did last time with that level 4 research lab.
Oh, that security guard started coming at me. I had to get out of there. I know.
All right. Fair enough. Okay, Raven, hopefully if you're not working on Saturday, we'll have you on and find out what the heck is going on because in this world we're living in, 24 hours, that's enough time to actually put the world on its head.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
God bless.
Thanks, Mike.
Bye.
Bye.
So that's the Raven, and see lots of helpful information from the Raven. You know, they don't want to talk housing, and then they end up talking housing, and they end up talking about all this other stuff and wood and stuff, and it all ends up pertaining to housing in the end. It always does. It always comes to home, or always sets foot or sets ground at our doorsteps. It always does. Okay, so these are 2 stocks, guys. We are not an investment company. We do not tell you what to invest in. We're not professional investors, and we can't read. If you don't want to take our advice, These are just going to go on my watch list, and that's it. Merry Christmas, and that's it. All right. How's everybody doing out there, man? Good, good. Nim says the American dollar will turn to pesos. That will take a long time too, but it will eventually turn to pesos. But something like that to happen will take a while. People rag on petroleum, but mining, especially Canadian mining companies, are a horror show. And then Metal Gear Mark III says, Lord Humongous and in the Grand Canyon. Layla, I get my news from Realty. Says eBankU. So what's happening here? Layla's predicting that the United States dollar will no longer be the reserve currency by 2025. Happens to be the end of the COVID fanfare. Yeah, Lord is saying he is accepting silver peso donations. So if you have any silver pesos, Lord Humongous will be accepting them. If you want to mail them out some silver pesos. Yeah, Gary Madero's in the house saying deferral cliff has arrived. I'm seeing multiple listings daily. Habanero Bear is asking, has anyone got sick in the last 48 hours in the interior of BC? Not that I know of. Everyone's just out and about doing their stuff. Okay, who else is out there? Who do we got here in the comments? We got Gary Madero's. Maybe, I don't know what time it is there. It might be a little bit late. 8, 9, 10, 11, 30. Yeah, maybe he's on lockdown. Maybe give him a call and find out what's going on in his neck of the woods. Because I know he's telling me he's like seeing a lot of places going up. Are we seeing an oversupply on the market right now? See, I checked Better Dwelling. I checked a couple other sources. We're not seeing any supply. We're not seeing major movements in supply or major oversupply on the market. The numbers are starting to fit. But pricing of housing has gone up. And that's scary. And then it goes back to the original question I asked at the beginning and through the mid of the show when I made that video today. Has foreign investing put enough of a crater into our housing market that if the Canadian proper can't get in or no longer can't pay their mortgage and they default, would it matter anymore to the housing market because so much of it has been sold out to foreign investing? That's my question. Sorrento, BC, good value for those fleeing cities, says Habanero. I used to smoke a cigar that was called Habanero. And then Cohibas and Montecristos. Metal Gear Mark III saying stock market should crash sooner or later. It's overbought. Everything's overbought. Housing should have crashed 4 years ago. Housing should have crashed realistically in 2012, reset, and crashed again in 2018, 2019. And nothing's happened. If anything, they keep fueling this crap. So Sean saying lots of development in Richmond, British Columbia. Business as usual, mostly foreign buyers. But what else is new? Habanero Bear says, I love seeing you get fired up on the live streams. Yeah! Guys, Mike in the Night this Saturday, guys. It's going to be People of the Night, Mike in the Night. You want to be there this Saturday. Okay, we got a half an hour left in the show. Who can we bring on to this show? Come on, man. Who wants to come on the show? I'm going to call Steve again. I'm going to give him one last try. He's been hounding me for days. We've been playing phone tag. Come Come on, pick up. Pick up. Okay, he ain't picking up, guys. I'm sorry, guys. He's been hounding me. Look, I missed 3 calls from him, and then he called me the other day and says, "Are you there?" And I think he's tied up. Damn it. He's got some important news for us. I can't get him on the show. We already spoke to Stephen Thomas. We already spoke to the Raven. And I would like to speak to... who else we got here? Let's see if we can get Supreme Ganon back on Mic of the Night. He could do a plug for us and see what the heck is going on. We had Dano on the show. We had Dano on the show last Saturday from California, from LA, from California. He was telling us how bad it was down there and how he's leaving California too. A huge mass exodus. So we've been talking about these exoduses for years now. The brain drain. I call them brain drains. You start losing the middle class, the productive self-thinkers. You start losing your economy. You lose your economy. And how do you fix it? Bring in foreign investors to buy up your country. That's the only way to fix it. All right. Maybe we get Uncle Rico on the show. We haven't had Uncle Rico on for a while. Okay, wow, I got messages from Nanny, 1990. Looks like somebody messaged me here from New Zealand. Let's see who else we got here. Calling a secret caller.
Hi, Mike. How are you?
Hey, Layla. How are you, my friend?
I'm good.
I'm hearing my echo.
Are you?
It sounds like a long-distance call from, like, 1986.
Is this better?
Yeah, it's better. Way better.
Good.
Okay, by the way, you got fans here in British Columbia, Canada. And
Yeah.
they came to my store last week. They drove all the way from Edmonton and to see me. You probably won't believe it, but they did. They came all the way. They spent a couple of hours with me at my store. And then they went up the north to pick up another highway to go back to Edmonton and to kind of make a road trip out of it because they were stir crazy with the lockdown. And they said, "We love Layla. Layla is the best. It's so good to have her on Mike in the Night. I just love hearing her and what she has to say, and she's so down to earth." So you have fans out there that are listening to you across the country.
That's so nice. Thanks so much for relaying this, Mike. You've got
across
many
the
more fans,
countries.
and it's all thanks to you.
Across the countries. I got to fix that. Across the Commonwealth. Okay, Layla. Okay, looking outside in, you see the price of lumber going up. The price of the price to build a house on your own land is like $700,000 to build anything. What's happening? Like, I mean, I know you left Canada. I know you're seeing it from the outside in. I mean, is it a country you might want to come back to now?
Oh, my mom really wants to go back. She's really annoyed being here. She was really, really happy in Canada, and we're just constantly thinking of ways of how we can move her back there. I still have a sister there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just been challenging for her, but I think if we find a solution for how she can keep making income from her nest egg,
okay,
I think the first thing she's going to do is move back there because she was really happy there. For my part, I'm still not so sure. I still didn't hear back from the job or anything like that, and I honestly at this stage I'm not really I'm not really asking about it. I wouldn't move there without a decent income from there, or maybe from my business until I can live there. But I don't think it's the right time to be there because I think it's a really risky time to be there right now. The news is all over the vaccine. I really think that's going to kick in. And Mike, you had that article about 85 million vaccines.
Yeah.
I posted another article in the comments that said 190 million vaccines. So these are not all going to be for Canada. I think what they're going to do is they're going to donate it to third world countries as part of the COVAX, what's it called? The COVAX initiative, which is supported by Gavi and others through the UN.
Wow.
So that's why they're ordering so many of them. But I'm starting to think that this is probably going to happen. So I don't want to go anywhere near Canada until we're after that vaccine stage. Like, we see how that plays out. Because I think that now going into Canada is going to make it really hard to go back out. I think it's just going to be a closed box at this stage. So
Especially
I think it's
with a
risky.
Canadian border closed to the American. I think that's put in place because there's just too many Canadians. Like, I'm not making this up. I get emails, Layla, like 3 to 10 a day from people that are they're tired, they're leaving Canada, or they're leaving Australia, or they're leaving New Zealand, and everyone's moving to America. And they're just like, I can't afford to live. I can't afford to eat anymore in Canada. Literally can't afford to eat.
I'm not so sure things are so good in the US either. I mean, I know from a housing perspective, the US is heaven compared to the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
But I think things are escalating in the US. I think Lord can maybe tell us more about this. Maybe he's privy to some things. But it's been a continuous chaos. Like, I know that it hasn't been in the news as much, but if you track the individual cities where all of this Black Lives Matter and all of the other chaos that's been happening, it sort of fell through the wayside in the news, but it's actually still happening. So, for example, Portland, there's still protests like a lot on the streets, and people are dying, people are getting killed, there's violence, but it's no longer the headlines, you know? So it's been happening across the US since the time it started. So I think it's just going to keep escalating. And then I think until after the elections, I think if you're going to move to the US, you might want to wait that out a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not saying right now, but I'm saying the amount of people like nurses, people that have jobs guaranteed there for their trades, it's just we're losing the productive, the people that actually contribute to the infrastructure in Canada. We're losing so many of them. And somebody challenged me the other day about 35 million people 35 million Canadians living in America since 1974.
Yeah.
And they got back to me and they said, "Oh, okay, no comment. I'm sorry."
Yeah. Well, there's 40 million unemployed right now in the US. That was the number. I think that was the number even a month ago.
Yeah.
Right? At this point. Let's see what happens with the evictions, for example. What's going to happen then?
That's in 3 weeks.
Yeah, right? So same thing in Canada, right? A wave of eviction going on there.
Well, there's going to be huge evictions because it's the CERB.
Right. Well, I really think they're going to find a way to extend it or shape-shift it magically into something else.
Magically. Sprinkle some pixie dust?
That's right. Some Trudeau dust. Morneau dust. Yeah. You know, so, but here's what, Mike. I think after these major milestones, these major events kick in, I think that might be a new beginning of another phase. So...
What do you think it is? I know this is a Mike in the Night topic, but what do you think it is, Layla?
Yeah, I do think it's a Mike in the Night topic, you know, but I can't really think outside of these terms. I don't know, it's bad, right? I can't think outside of this. I can't help but see that the housing issue is related with this. You know, what's going to happen next? I don't know. I think they're probably going to start pushing the vaccine.
I saw you comment on my video today.
Which one?
About the one where I have a question for Better Dwelling asking, did foreign investing play enough of a crater in our housing market that even if the Canadian proper can't afford their mortgages or default, it's not really going to affect the housing market as much because there's just so much of it was sold off to foreign investing already?
Yeah, that makes sense because the Canadian proper, as you put it, is an ever smaller percentage of housing ownership.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right.
Do you remember the article, last trends in the housing market, 3 trends in the housing market? I brought up the same article 3 times because in the province of British Columbia, people in BC, they can't find first-time homebuyers anymore because they just can't get into the market. Less than 1% of BC's population can get into the housing market. Less than 1%.
Less than 1% of who?
Canadians could get into the BC housing market.
Last year?
in the last few months.
Last few months.
Yeah, I brought up the article
Wow.
3 times. Like less than 1% could afford to get into housing in the province of British Columbia.
So who's getting in?
Well, we know who's getting in.
Right. Okay.
So, I mean, so now it leads to today's video that, okay, let's say X, Y, and Z can't pay their mortgage, they default, somebody moves in and buys the property, even though properties are still going up in Canada. So there's got to be a reason for property still going up with unemployment at record highs.
So isn't this 2008 all over again?
No, see, 2008 was a little bit different because 2008 didn't involve a majority of the housing market being owned by foreign investors. That's a big difference. That's a huge difference.
Okay, that's fair. That's totally fair. But they did bring up this COVID thing out of nowhere.
They did, yes.
It seems that they have a similar goal, right, of crashing the system. You know, it's just formatted a bit differently, but I think the same goal is ahead. And so, Mike, you know how you're always tracking Australia as like some kind of predictor of what's going to happen in the rest of the Commonwealth?
Yes.
Okay, so what's happening now in Australia?
A lot. Well, what's happening is the state of Victoria has been in a complete shutdown. And in the state of...
Apart from the COVID stuff, like the housing stuff, what's going on with the housing stuff in Australia?
Housing right now in Sydney is down anywhere from 8 to 20%, depending on the area in Sydney that you're in. And housing in Melbourne right now is vacancies in Melbourne is up 170% as of like yesterday's numbers. And in Melbourne, Australia, right now, the housing is gone down anywhere from 11 to 22% in the last 5 to 6 months, depending on what area in Melbourne you're in. And
so, Mike, these are accepted figures, like in the mainstream media, or are these figures that you figured out?
No, I didn't figure this out exactly. No, I'm just getting it from people on the ground.
Okay, so these people, are they getting it from the mainstream media? And the reason I ask is not because I care about the mainstream media, but because that's the narrative that they're going to push.
Right.
Probably.
I get where you're coming with this. It makes a lot of sense. No, these are people. There's one guy is a real estate broker. Another guy is a mortgage broker. And another girl that I speak to from there, she came on the show once, like 3 years ago, and she's a real estate agent too, and she's telling me that, yes, a lot of it is foreign investing, a lot of it is this, a lot of it is that, and there's going to be a mortgage cliff right now in Australia in the third week of September. A big mortgage cliff.
I think it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time before the same thing happens in Canada. But I think they're playing out the models, you know.
Okay,
and I
but
do think it's connected with.
Let's take a sideline approach to this. You got a couple of states you have a major state in complete lockdown. Like you can't leave your house. It's an open air prison, and it's chaos. Okay, but then you got the 5G rolling out that we talked about, and they're rolling out the 5G in huge numbers there, and they're putting up cameras like crazy all over the place there, especially the cameras that were rolled out in Darwin with the that they use in China for social credit score.
Yeah, and the latest, I was just reading about this today, is that TELUS is in on a major augmented reality rollout across the world, and that also goes on the 5G network. Oh yeah, the technologies are really racing ahead. I think it's really worth keeping an eye on what's going on with the technologies, that and digital currencies. I really think the crypto people should jump on your call more often, Mike. Not because I want to carry crypto, but because of what it means, you know, for things to head in this direction. Mm-hmm. I think these are the two, and I think they're connected, right? Because they're both, they both need to ride on very fast networks. So I think it's part of the same effort.
Well, the social credit score system, you need a very big, broad network to be tracking everyone that leaves their home, where they're going, tracking their car on each camera as they go toward their destination, and then tracking them when they come home, getting on the elevator, getting off the elevator, going to the underground parking. They actually follow you right through. But
yeah, and so what it becomes really easy to connect everything. Well, it's not. It's a massive effort, but it's still doable to connect everything together. So, your bank account with your medical history, with your
passport
behavior, number. Your all of it. Well, it's very easy then to just merge IDs, right? Then your ID is not a passport number, it's your genetic code. Okay, you don't need to have multiple IDs. You just unify them into one, and they're probably going to choose something like, something that's a biocode, like your fingerprint, your genetic code, or a portion of your
Facial
genetic
recognition.
code, or your facial recognition, retinal. There's no need to have multiple IDs at that point. At that point, it's just one. And I think that's where they're heading. They're heading towards that merger, where it's no longer needed to have all of these different ID categories, like social security, passport, driver's license, your medical. All of that can be done under one. And actually, in the UAE, in Abu Dhabi specifically, it was something that they were working on well before I moved to Canada, it should be about 10, 12 years now. So they had what they called a smart ID. It was a plastic card, but the point of that ID was that it connected all the systems under one file.
They're called
so this is
fusion centers.
Yeah.
Where they fuse everything together.
Exactly. Except now they're going to be adding to that, your social credit score and, your digital wallet and other things like that, so.
Layla, I got a comment in here from Matthew saying, Mike, it didn't take long to track the protest organizers in Australia. Goes to show it's not hard. So everybody that's trying to organize a protest in Australia, like for this, are going to jail.
Yeah. Yeah. Like what happened with that woman.
Oh, yeah, the one they were manhandling on the sidewalk?
No, the pregnant woman whom they came and picked her up from her house, and her husband was filming it. Mm-hmm. She was pregnant. She was due to do some kind of, what was it? Some kind of test in an hour, and they took her away. Yeah, they handcuffed her in front of her kids because she posted about a protest on Facebook.
Yeah,
and she offered to take the post down, but they didn't. I mean, it's turning into a massive police state, and Anne was asking earlier why I thought it wasn't going to be exactly the same thing in Canada. That's because in Canada, I don't think they resist as much. I just think they have a different, how do you say, they have a different language across the board. They're just different about these things. I think Canadians are nicer and they're more cooperative, so I don't think they're going to need as much force in Canada. So yeah, I think a lockdown is possible, but they're just not going to package it in the same way as they would in Australia. It's just going to be packaged a little bit differently. So they tend to say things a little bit differently. So for example, the guy, I forget his name, in Australia, he was saying, well, if you don't, or was it Jacinta? I'm not sure. He was saying that, well, if you don't get vaccinated, you don't get paid, or something like in your face like that. I'll have to find it.
Oh, I did a video about no vax.
That's right.
You can't.
That's the one.
I did a video on that with Scotty Morrison, the Prime Minister of Australia. Then he started stepping back and backpedaling. But this is what a lot of people don't understand.
There was one after it. It wasn't Scott Morrison himself. It was another person, and he threw that out there again. In Canada, I don't think they're going to word these things in these ways. Like if you pay attention to Tam, what she was saying today, or was it yesterday? She was saying mass vaccination is encouraged, or something like that. They always have a softer way of phrasing things and wording things.
Language. They adjust
Canada.
Language and kind of massage the words a bit so people could digest them a bit easier.
Exactly, and so I think something a little bit similar will happen to housing, but to tell me that it won't crash, I don't see why it wouldn't. Why wouldn't it? Like that's the Kevin Thompson and Steve the plumber debate, right? I mean, the difference is that Kevin is just looking at what's happening, and then Steve is looking at what should be happening or what will be happening based on the numbers that aren't making any sense. I think it's just a matter of time. I just don't see how this can be propped up.
Layla,
unless they're just going to replace the population, right?
Right, that's what they're doing, because if the average wage earner has to save up, and I brought up the article several times, has to save for 21 years in Vancouver to buy a one-bedroom condo, average wage earner, from $45,000 to $65,000 a year, and then the average wage earner in Toronto needs to save for 27 years to get a one-bedroom for a down payment on a one-bed. Down payment, you're not buying it. So it's like, what do you tell your kid? Okay, son, you're done high school, so go ahead and get out there and work, and in about 25 years, you could put a down payment on a house when you're 50. That's not going to work, Layla.
Right. That was my opinion from the beginning, and I picked that up pretty quickly when I arrived in Cant. I had bought a condo before I arrived there. I did put a down payment on a condo, and it didn't take me long to appreciate what's going on and that there's a lot of shady stuff going on.
Mickey Mouse.
So I sold it, yeah, lots, and I mean I discovered things about the condo. It's crazy. Like a glass wall is considered a wall. Can you believe that? You should look these up. There's one that's like that. I'm not going to say which one I invested in, but I know of another one that's like that. It's the 111 St. Clair. And I think this happens a lot in retrofits. And it's perfectly legal. They argued that sun needs to get into the space. So a glass wall is considered a wall, and whatever it divides is considered 2 rooms or, a bedroom.
Oh, yeah. In Vancouver, it's like that. Let me explain.
Yeah.
Let me explain to you how in Vancouver works. They got a mattress test. They get a single mattress, and they put it in every room. If a mattress fits in it, it's a bedroom, regardless.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so they go into a walk-in closet. If the mattress fits in there, it's a bedroom.
Oh, they're ahead of Toronto. Okay,
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah, because in Vancouver, I was looking at this house. It was a 14-bedroom, 7-bath. No, 14-bedroom, 2-bathroom. 14-bedroom, 2-bathroom. And I was looking at the house. It was falling apart and literally falling apart. The foundation was cracked. The house was built in 1926. And I'm looking at the house and I'm like, how is this a 14-bedroom? And then the real estate guy came to tell me, he's like, oh, yeah, if you get a mattress test and if the mattress fits in a bathroom, it's considered so wherever it fits. If you could fit a single mattress in any room, it's considered a bedroom.
Right. Well, you see, what I couldn't understand is that people actually sit down and have a conversation around this. To me, this isn't worth a conversation, but people, they give situations a lot of chances, because it's Toronto, it's got to be right. It's maybe you not getting it. So they start doubting themselves. They start to try to understand what's going on. But to me, I really judge things from their cover. And I take the freedom to do that, because if it looks shady, then it is. It's just a matter of time before you figure out in what ways it is, so I just go with that and then I figure it out. But I don't shortchange my doubt. I always go with it. Because I know that it's just, it's just you thinking faster than you can appreciate, So I immediately picked that up and I got out of it. And I think it's, I made money on it, but you have to wonder how much money did you actually make on it because of inflation and
strata fees,
tax. And yeah, I didn't end up paying these, but, taxes and inflation and all of that and transaction costs. It all adds up, and you have to really sit down and consider if it was worth the trouble.
Did you see that video I did about that garage sold for
yes.
$1 million for a garage with the rolling door?
Yeah.
$1 million. And did you see what you could buy in the States for it's crazy. It's absolutely unfathomable.
What really gets on my nerves is the arrogance.
Yes.
I have to say. It's not really the cost, the price, the dollar numbers and all of that. It's the arrogance, people have the guts to actually put something like that out on the market. And, people will buy. This will sell. You'll see.
It's going to sell.
But it is, I think, it is going to sell. It is. Yeah. And I think it's money laundering as well. I mean, it's really hard, to deny that. And that's the thing, Mike, if Kevin is probably going to be right because of the money laundering thing. They're just going to keep on looking for people to launder their money, and that's what's going to keep the market up.
Well, Canada would be in a recession without money laundering.
Yeah.
So what do we do now?
I think they know that. I think they're just timing when they pull the plug. I really think they can do it. It's almost a button that they need to push because it's so fragile. The whole thing is barely standing on a stick. And so I think they're just timing it.
So if you guys think I'm making this article up, I'm going to bring it up again. I bring this up on the show quite a bit. Type in Canada would be in a recession without money laundering. Here's the article here. Here's article scan. There it is right there, guys, for you guys to see. Canada would be in a recession without money laundering. It's phenomenal. And Layla, from 2011 to 2015, before the Liberal government shut down the investigation, they found $200.5 billion laundered through Canada.
Yeah.
$200 billion.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, even a good economist doesn't even know what's going to happen to the economy when you bring in that much salt water into a fresh lake.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right.
I wonder why they shut down the investigation. They were going good with this, and then the Liberal Trudeau said, we can't investigate this
Well, here's where I would say, Mike, that's really not something to wonder about. It's just that they're super corrupt. This is a super, super corrupt environment. And, people want to, I appreciate that. It's okay to do that. People want to discuss it and get into the politics of it and start analyzing the economics and stuff. There's only so much rational analysis you're going to pull out of a place that is extremely corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I'm saying that, no, I am taking things at face value. No, I do not need to turn this into a deep philosophical conversation. It's pretty obvious what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear that around me?
Yeah.
Did you hear the gunshot? That's common. I do take it at face value. It's
I bring it up on the channel a lot.
So Kevin Thompson, it wouldn't surprise me that Kevin Thompson is an insider somewhere,
mm-hmm.
Because he's done a lot of these deals, I think. He mentioned that he's in trouble with a certain situation right now in one of your shows not too long ago.
Is it with the mafia?
I think he really, for sure the housing mafia, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he's probably aware of certain things in ways that someone like me, definitely wouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, the answer is not yet. The housing prices keep going up. The answer to me is not get in because it's going to keep going up.
Right.
The answer to me is get out and find another place.
And that's what I've been trying to echo here on my channel for all these years, discussing that, look, there's all this money laundering. Look, there's this happening. Like, somebody needs to address this, you know what I mean? Even though I sound like a broken record at times, I need to get this out there because people need to understand that one day they're going to be looking outside in the rain, looking in at what could have been theirs, but if the governments didn't sell them off,
Yeah. No, for me, that was a pretty decisive factor in how I assess the whole Canada thing, for me, because at that point it was clear to me that I wasn't going to be able to make a life in Canada. You know what I mean? So it's not that I plan to leave right now. No, I plan to take a break, but, I'm not sure about going back, like you were saying, unless some things become clearer and I have income while I'm there.
Well, you are famous here. People know you here. Okay, hold on. Here's the other article. World economy would collapse if the City of London stopped laundering money, says HSBC whistleblower.
Here's what I think the world economy would collapse, but I think it would be the economy as we know it that would collapse. Earlier I was debating with eBankU about betting on the US dollar. I am betting that the US dollar will no longer be the reserve currency of the world within just a few years.
Right.
Now, how many years exactly? We can debate that, but something that made the news recently that I think is really important is that China and Russia have increased the percentage of bilateral transactions that they do outside of the US dollar.
Yeah,
outside of the US dollar. So in 2015, I think they were at 90% US dollar.
Mm-hmm.
Today, they are at 46% US dollar. They seem to be on a 10-year timeline. By 2025, they're going to be 0% on the US dollar.
That's if the Russian and Chinese economy keep accelerating and need to buy, because if other economies like India and let's just throw this out there, Brazil start getting and they're 100% in US dollars. You see what I'm saying? There's a little bit of a balance at play too, right? Depending on which...
I don't think so. Okay. I don't think anymore. I think the balance of power has shifted towards the East a long time ago. What we're seeing now is the consequences that are being readjusted. I don't know about, they were estimating last year something in the order of 100 billion in bilateral transactions. I think that's a lie. I think that's probably just one tiny portion that they're looking at. There's a whole lot of things that they can omit from this number. You know, swaps, banking transactions, all sorts of other transactions can be removed from this number.
Right.
And they're not the only ones who are trading outside of the dollar. Like the whole war in the Middle East is precisely because of that, you know, like we keep saying, right, Mike? So that's why I think it's really hard to separate these matters, you know, housing and stuff. I mean, housing is a pretty specific topic, you know, as part of the economy, but it's definitely going to be at the receiving end of what happens when the US dollar is no longer the reserve currency of the world. And then you've got people like Metal and other people who, you know, talk crypto and digital. And I really think these guys should make it on your call. You know, they say things like, keep printing and the Bitcoin is going to go up to $1 million. And the question is, $1 million what? $1 million Zimbabwe dollars?
No, it's a billion. It's 16 billion Zimbabwe dollars.
Right. So these are closed loop relative values. You know, the only thing that is not relative is gold, or at least that's what humanity has decided is physical gold. You know, it's like the kilogram. What is the kilogram? The kilogram is a platinum cylinder sitting in a safe in Paris. It does not have a measure. What is measured is things relative to the kilogram and other things to each other. It's only just recently that they started to measure the kilogram with some kind of atomic scale thingy, you know, something that has to do with nuclear or, you know, particle physics. That's the new measure. But until for the longest time, it was just, you know, it was just like, you know, the foot, the rod. You know, that is the foot. It is not itself measured. It is a relative measure.
Right.
And so you take all of these fiat currencies and you start measuring them to each other. Well, you know, they're not telling you anything. And my opinion is that housing is one of those relative values.
It is.
You know,
it's like the blind leading the blind.
I think housing is entirely subjective. I think it's very hard to have a proper objective measure of housing. And that's why, you know, it's part of these cycles. It's not robust like gold and silver and the precious metals. It's impossible. I don't see what's going to replace them. You know, so $1 million and everyone's so happy they're holding Bitcoins. I don't know. What's it gonna million what? Zimbabwe dollars. You know, it's not a good thing that, you know, the printing of the printing fiat is increasing the Bitcoin in these ways, especially when it's just digital. It's not physical and it cannot be used. I mean,
Exactly.
But they need to come. They need to come on the show and they need to talk about this.
Yeah, we'll get a
Bitcoiner.
We'll get a few Bitcoiners on.
I think it's
I'll get Blunt News on next week. He's a huge crypto nut, and he does a lot of crypto buying and selling, and he's been in it for many years. So I could get a Blunt News on next week to talk about crypto and what's going on. Maybe you and him could have a debate over crypto versus gold.
I think it should be Lord who should debate him, but he should come on and tell us about this. And there's just one thing I like to make a point about digital currencies. There is no amount of sophistication that the different cryptos and the different systems that these currencies run on that changes them from being digital. There's nothing that makes a digital currency not digital. My point is that it's digital. That's where I stop. You know, that's where my concern stops. You know, the problem that it's a digital currency and it's going to be connected with your social credit score and everything else. To me, it's not an economic thing. Yes, you know, you can bet on things. It's a very reasonable thing to do. And, you know, you'll make money and that's a good thing. But for me, the concern is that this is what's driving or a big part of what's driving the transition onto the blockchain, which in my opinion is going to be the new internet, the new way the internet runs, along with the 5G networks and stuff. That's my point. So yeah, I think from an economic perspective, I think Lord should have the conversation with Blunt.
All right, fair enough. I just want you to get you on a debate, not to fight, but just a debate to talk.
No, of course not. No, but I'm saying, you know, from a knowledge perspective, like from the economic details, I'm not sold on housing. You know, never mind cryptos. Like I think housing is sort of a scam. I think it can work in some places, like here, for example. We're probably at the bottom. You know, just coming out of a 10-year war, it might be a good time to invest. Yes, you know, it might be a good time to.
That's what I've been trying to do. I've been trying to send smoke signals for years now. I've been trying to warn people, look, calculate your TDS. No, Mike, but my bank approved me for this. That means I could pay it. No, you can't. Calculate how much your cell phone, calculate all the other bills they didn't calculate in your total debt service ratio, and find out if you could afford this damn mortgage. He gets back to me in an email. I really can't afford it. I'm always in negative. I'm like, well, how are you going to eat? Well, I can eat off credit cards and the house will keep going up. I've counseled.
Yeah, people are very good at talking relative values. They don't talk enough cash flow. It's like catching a good sale. It's like, oh, it's on sale. Let's go buy it. Well, it doesn't matter if it's on sale. It matters if you can afford it. It matters what happens to the rest of, the money that you have.
Exactly.
But people go with this kind of flow. I think that's totally wrong.
And especially
on top of that, it's also the lifestyle and how you live. There's a whole lot of other factors that you need to sit down and think about. It's not just a cool thing to invest in.
So, like, I've even had real estate agents try and sue me because I brought them, I discussed about them on my show, talking about how if you don't buy now, you'll never own, you'll be bought out of the market forever. They should be illegal. That should be illegal to even... That should
be illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you are in a position where, people sell you that kind of stuff, that tells me, get out. That tells me this is not the right place to invest in. No, I think you're right about talking about the United States, talking about other countries. I'm not saying that the U.S. is a great place right now or that it ever was a great place, but the idea of looking at different countries, different jurisdictions, I think is becoming key because Canadians are going to be squeezed to the absolute last. I mean, these people are taking out loans when they're $200 away from bankruptcy.
Exactly.
I mean, at this point, I'm not interested in an economic analysis. I'm not interested. I don't want to hear an economic analysis. This is basic common sense. That's it. You don't need sophistication and concepts and, big ideas, to make such a basic point.
You're the best. And that's why I have you on the show.
Well, thanks, Mike. You've got to wrap up now.
Yeah, but you know what? This is our 212th or 213th or 13th episode of Trends in the Housing Market.
Are you backing up your stuff?
I'm backing it all up, yeah. I was watching an episode from 3.5 years ago where I was talking about how Australia is I was talking about the only thing that could stop Australia at this momentum that it's going at right now is if they stop foreign investing, or B, they get hit by a pandemic, or we make a alien first contact. I said that 3 years ago, and it's still, but things are starting to correct in a way and give it some in the next quarter. We're going to see what happens in the September mortgage cliff. And we're going to start to see what happens coming in the month of October when we start getting numbers in on defaults and credit card defaults, auto defaults. There's just so much happening right now. And people that, like I said, again, Layla, you have a lot of fans. And the amount of emails I get from people thanking me. Thank you, Mike. I watched your video a year ago not to buy. I didn't buy. Thank you. That couple that came from Edmonton that like you on the show, they said they like you on Mike in the Night. They told me too. We sold when and then we were renting a farm now. Luckily, we sold when we did because we'd be screwed right now.
Yeah. And I mean, Kevin Thompson is wrong about some things he mentions on the comments. He says things like, Mike is a homeowner. He should be telling people to own a home.
No, but I bought my house for $260,000.
Exactly. He keeps missing out on the detail that says that you left Vancouver in order to buy your home.
Very impressive income in Vancouver. I own my own.
It's not something that happened on its own. You didn't find a $200K house in Vancouver. No, there are other considerations that come into play. It's not just buying a house in absolute value.
It's exactly,
or just a standalone decision like that.
No, I paid $260, and for years I've been telling people get the GTFO out of the city.
That's right. And he also tells Steve the plumber to increase his rates so that he can afford a home better. Well, that's why I rent, because when I get a plumber, and plumbing is super expensive, at least in Toronto, I'm going to refer you to my landlord, Kevin Thompson, so that he handles the bill.
Yeah.
These things are connected. They're complex. It's not just easy. You can go, increase your rates, and next thing you know, you're in a house. It's not going to work that way.
Tim is saying Vancouver is a dead city. It lost its soul. Yeah, so is Sydney. So is Melbourne. So is Auckland. So is Christchurch is becoming like that too. So is Welland. Everywhere is becoming like that. They're starting to see these cities are starting to empty out, and people are filing out of these cities. And it's in Canada, it's kind of tough because you can't really go anywhere else but the States.
Yeah.
right? And then a lot of Europeans are returning to Europe in mass numbers too. A lot of people returning to Greece, Germany, France, Portugal, Spain, and a lot of people in Canada, if they don't go back to those countries, majority of them just get deported back. So it's weird. It's a weird situation we're in right now. But we'll see what happens, Layla. Anyways, I appreciate you coming on and spending the time with us and giving us your point of view of what what you think is, or how you feel about the situation.
Sure. My pleasure, Mike. Thanks.
Yeah, hopefully we can get you. Hopefully your internet will work in the morning, so we can get you on mic in the night.
We should be past that phase now. So hopefully, yeah, it'll be on for Mike in the night.
Okay, Layla. God bless you.
You too. Thank you so much, Mike. Thanks so much, everyone. Okay. Take care.
Bye. That is Layla, our 5-star correspondent, broadcasting or calling in, or I called her actually, from calling into Syria. Home is where the heart is. That's right, Lin Poo. Home is like the status of freedom, individuality, the status of accomplishment. Like, I would have died so bitter if I didn't have at least a property to leave my kids or something. I would have died so, like, almost like I missed out on life in a way. Because, I don't know. But anyways, like I said, I bought my house for $260, right? And I had a choice in the matter. I didn't have to buy it. But also, I didn't have to drive 2.5 hours, 3 hours out of the city to be where I am, right? You know what I'm saying? So, I own, but okay, but I've been telling people for a long time to get out. Like, if you want to look at a video here that I made, I'll show you guys here. We'll go over here, and we'll go into my channel here. Let's go to article scan. Look at this. Get out. Type in get out. Right here, living the dream 3 years ago when I bought my house. Get out of the city. Let me enlarge this for you guys. Right there, get out of the city. And I'm telling people, get out of the city. Get out of the city. Our new home tour, get out of the city 3 years ago. Living the dream, get out of the city. See? Views from our new home, get out of the city. Housing crisis Australia, get out of Sydney. This is longer than 3 years ago. It's like 4 years ago. Massive food shortage. Well, then I forget. No. Get out. What else? How I escaped the Mike Martins cult. So, I've been saying it for a long time, guys. Let's look at brain drain. Brain drain. Sorry, I got two wires going over here. Canadian brain drain is real. Vancouver brain drain. Young families brain drain. Housing crisis moving out brain drain. Brain drain follow-up. Vancouver and Sydney, Australia brain drain. Registered nurse off to Florida brain drain. Oh, here's the one from a month ago. Australians about to fall off a $75 billion cliff. That's coming in. I want to see if I can get Martin North on from Digital Analytics to come on the show to give me an update. If anyone knows Martin North, I know somebody knows him. I know a couple of people watching this might know him personally. If he wants to come on, we could come on. I could even do a special show, a side show. It doesn't have to be live, but, it'd be nice to have him on the show and find out what he thinks is happening. So there it is there. So yeah, look at this gas bill I got. $469. Yeah, $469 that I paid for my gas bill. Here's one. Housing crisis Toronto, foreign tax. Get out of the city. This guy here, $200,000 a year income, and he can't buy in the Greater Toronto area. Tech industry moving out of Vancouver. This is from 3 years ago, because it's actually more than 3. It's like 4 or 5. I haven't been in my old store in years. So the tech industry is moving out of Vancouver because they can't afford to live in Vancouver. Canada's income equality in trouble. Lots of good videos here. Look at this. Housing crisis. Vancouver's cheapest house sold 492,000 over. Wow. I have to start checking out some of these older videos. Anyways, guys, Mike Martin's here. Guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Let me give you guys a link for if you don't mind, go ahead and set your reminders for Mike in the Night, please. I'm gonna give you guys a link here. This is for Mike in the Night for this Saturday. This is what it looks like here. So if you guys don't mind setting your reminders for Mike in the Night this Saturday, it'll be Sunday afternoon in Australia, and it'll be like 3 in the morning in the UK and midnight in Miami and Toronto and New York. No, 11 p.m. 11 p.m. in New York, Toronto. So if you guys wanna join Mike in the Night, we'll keep it PG, and if we get enough callers, we'll do 10-15 minute plugs if we could do that. Last show, guys, if you missed last Mike in the Night show, you might want to watch this one, because we got
article stating that
we got in a lot of callers.
There's a lot of evidence of.
We got callers from all over the Commonwealth, like literally all over the Commonwealth. There's last week's Mike in the Night. Go ahead and watch this if you guys want to continue watching some of this stuff. This last week's show, I got quite a few people on. I couldn't believe how many people. I think I got 8 or 10 people on the whole show. The show went on for 3 hours and 29 minutes, and just people calling from everywhere. Anyways, guys, looking forward to seeing you guys this Saturday. And thank you so much for being part of it. And guys, remember, take care. Take care of yourselves. And if you can't take care, please stay safe. And thanks for watching. And thanks for our callers. And thanks for all your support. And you guys have a good one.